Welcome back. Story 1. Am I the a-hole for kicking my stepsister out of my birthday trip? I, 19 female, am the daughter of separated parents, and my father's new wife has a daughter, Sophie, 18 female. Last year, my friends and I, including my best friend, May, 20 female, Debbie, 20 female, and another 4 girls, decided to go on a trip to celebrate my birthday. My father called me to ask me to take Sophie with us because she felt a little left out, and I accepted it, even if me and her didn't have a close relationship. The trip was one of the best of my life, but I noticed that May was a little down. I asked what was wrong and she said she was fine, just a little tired. So I believed her. When we returned home, we promised that the following year we would repeat the trip if possible. But this year, when I started preparing everything, Debbie came to talk to me and showed me prints from a group chat that I was not part of, which had the exact date of the time we were on the trip last year, where Sophie was talking bad about May and calling her names like whale, fat bitch, and other cruel things. For context, May is a fat woman. I spoke to May and she confirmed that during the trip, Sophie was completely unpleasant to her, always commenting on her body and her personality for no apparent reason. But she didn't say anything so as not to ruin the vibe of the trip party and to not create tension between me and my father's side of the family. And after the trip, she ended up forgetting about completely. I went to my father's house and told Sophie that I knew everything, and she turned pale when she saw the prints I had. I basically kicked her out of the trip and told her I didn't want to see her again. Now, the other girls in the group, apart from Debbie and May, are saying that I was an a-hole for kicking Sophie out for something so insignificant. And if Sophie doesn't go, neither will they. Am I an a-hole for kicking her out? You're not an a-hole, OP. Your stepsister is the a-hole here for being a mean person for no reason. May is such a good friend. The fact that she didn't say anything during the trip so as not to ruin your trip says a lot about her. It also says that she deserves to be protected from mean people like your stepsister. So I'm very glad that you threw her out of the trip. The last thing you want is to let her go and torment May like she did the last time. The girls saying you're kicking Sophie out for something insignificant need to be replaced ASAP. You need better friends. Now for some comments. OP, for the record, May is a keeper and a true friend. She put up with a lot from Sophie so as not to ruin your trip. She's not a drama queen and neither is Debbie. These are friends you can trust and depend on. Sophie sounds like someone who put others down so she can feel superior. It is a low self-esteem thing. Kinda sad if you think about it. You could almost feel sorry for her if she wasn't being so hurtful. Not the a-hole. You stood up for your friend and I would have done the same in this case. Sophie was so far out of line and I would take the prints and show the girls and tell them that if they want to spend time with someone who speaks about others that way, then enjoy staying home. If they are sticking up for her, kick them out of the trip and just go with me and Debbie. You 3 sound like gems surrounded by piles of coal. Wow, your stepsister is really manipulative. You should cut her off because she will eventually ruin every relationship you have in the future. It's either put a line or just get as far away from her if possible. By the way, if the dad really does pressure you about it, don't make him choose that might ruin his relationship with his new wife and resent you, or it might ruin your relationship altogether. To protect yourself, maybe just take less time when your stepsister is there. Just a thought, for future relationships. It would be nice if when you get into a relationship with someone, inform them of your stepsister's behavior and try to not interact with her if possible. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for having a better wedding than my sister-in-law? I'm a casual Reddit browser, but have never engaged the community before because I never thought something this wild would happen. But here we are. I'm 29 female from a middle-class family and have an older brother, 35 male. Let's call him Adrian. He is a self-taught software engineer and makes pretty good money. A little over 1 year ago, he married his girlfriend, 28 female of 6 years. Let's call her Heather. She's not a bad person, but I think she's a little bit spoiled. She's the type that loves to brag about all the expensive stuff her husband bought her, and their wedding was pretty extravagant. She still loves to talk about how it was the most amazing wedding she's ever been to. My brother is kind of wrapped around her finger, but it never really mattered until now. I met my fiancé, 36 male, about 4 years ago. It was a business event and he owns a decently sized and very successful company. So saying that, he's extremely wealthy. Since he grew up less than, he loves to spend his money on things him and his family could only dream about before. One of those things is, of course, our wedding. He wants to go all out and hired a somewhat well-known wedding planner to arrange everything. Honestly, I'm pretty excited. I've never dreamt of such a luxurious wedding, but now that it's happening, it feels like I'm living some wild dream I never even dared to have, like a textbook fairy tale. Recently, I was at a family gathering and was hanging out in the living room with my mom and Heather doing girl talk. My mom started asking me about how the planning was going, and when I told her about everything we were doing, I could see Heather go pale and then extremely red in the face. She was quiet for the rest of the night. The next day, Adrian called me and said that Heather was extremely upset and felt like I was trying to one-up her wedding. She said I was trying to upstage her because I never expressed desire for a fancy wedding before. He asked me if we could tone it down so it doesn't exceed the budget they had for their own wedding. I laughed because honestly, I couldn't believe what I was hearing, and then I naturally said no. He sounded upset and hung up. A few hours later, Heather calls me and she starts yelling at me, repeating mostly the same stuff, saying she knew I was always jealous of her, and I'm only with my fiancé because he's rich, and I want to rub it in her face. That made me snap, and I said, if you're that obsessed with money, maybe you should have married someone else instead of my brother. If anyone is jealous of someone, it's you. She screamed at me and started crying before hanging up. Now Adrian is angry and calling me an a-hole for insinuating she shouldn't have married him, and my parents think I was too harsh on her when I know she's always been material, and are asking me to lower our wedding budget to appease her. I don't want to. My fiancé definitely doesn't want to, but I don't know if that makes me an a-hole or not. This is hilarious, OP. You're definitely not the a-hole here. You were totally on point when you called your sister-in-law jealous. Your sister-in-law is so jealous of you, it's making her brain boil. You absolutely do not have to do anything to appease her, and suggesting otherwise is stupid. People have extravagant weddings all the time. Does she go meet everyone who does and tell them to lower their budget so they don't outdo her? Please ignore her. She's being an annoying, jealous person, and appeasing her really wouldn't do you any good. Now for some comments. If you had been rubbing it in their faces, gloating, etc., I would say everyone sucks here. But you didn't. Your mom asked, you answered. And who cares if you never wanted a fancy wedding? Your fiancé does. You probably didn't have to add that jab at the end. It definitely didn't help. But you were essentially, or just actually, being harassed. Not the a-hole. If Heather doesn't understand that having the best wedding simply means marrying the person you will happily spend the rest of your life with, then everything else is her problem and you should ignore her and your brother and just keep doing what you're doing. Not the a-hole. Personally, I find your parents' request to appease her one of the worst things about this. You need to have a short discussion with them about boundaries, and that your sister-in-law's insecurities are no reason for anyone else to change. Not the a-hole, and I will scream that from the rooftops, OP. It's your big day. It's your husband-to-be's big day. Make it the way you'll envision it. Sister-in-law needs a huge slice of humble pie and needs to learn the world doesn't revolve around her. And unlike your brother, you won't bend at her whim. She doesn't like it too bad. It's not about her. It's about you and your hubby. Screw her and anyone else who says you're in the wrong. Have that fairy tale wedding. Have it as beautiful as y'all's heart desire. Congrats on your nuptials and may your day be as glorious as you are. Story 3. Am I the a-hole for asking my mom to stop buying gifts for my girlfriend? My girlfriend and her mom have a weird relationship. Her mom isn't very supportive of her and makes her feel worse when she's already down. For example, my girlfriend has a chronic illness and it flared up during our anniversary weekend, when we were staying at my parents' before we went into the city to celebrate. When my girlfriend texted her mom said, "Great, now you're a burden on his parents." Even though my parents weren't taking care of her and didn't mind. In fact, they were worried. Overall, just not the best mother. One another thing she does is not ever really buy my girlfriend gifts or celebrate her accomplishments. My girlfriend doesn't feel entitled to them. But even just a card acknowledging her birthday sometimes would be appreciated. My girlfriend does theater and her mom never gets her flowers or cards or anything to celebrate that. If she even shows up to the performances at all, it makes my girlfriend sad because she feels like her mom doesn't give a shit. She's tried talking to her about it, but her mom makes excuses. The thing is, my mom is very supportive, which is sweet. She will show up to every show my girlfriend is in, which is great, but she ends up going over the top, buying her flowers and gifts. My girlfriend is appreciative, but then gets upset saying, "Your mom is so much nicer to me than my own mom. Why can't she be like that?" It all sort of came to a head recently. I knew that my girlfriend's mom was coming to my girlfriend's summer performance and that she was giving her a coupon for clothes shopping. When I knew that would make my girlfriend upset, so I asked my mom to not make a big deal of it and to not get my girlfriend flowers or anything fancy. It was just going to upstage her mom, then upset her and make her go into a tailspin about how her mom sucks and how my mom loves her more. My mom showed up to the performance with a bouquet of flowers, a pair of earrings, and a card. Lo and behold, after the performance, I had to hear the same thing. My mom loves her more. Why is her mom so uncaring? Why can't she give her gifts and a card? The same thing, same cycle. So I was upset with my mom, and my mom thinks it's ridiculous that I am upset with her. She thinks I should be grateful that I'm so good with her girlfriend. I am. But I'm just tired of seeing my girlfriend so upset. Am I being an ass here? Now for some comments. You're the a-hole. A well-meaning one, but you're the a-hole. Your girlfriend is being hurt by her mom. The answer isn't to get your mom to be less nice to her. It's to suggest she talk to a professional about her feelings and remind her that you and your family love her. And step back and let your mom spoil this girl because, as she rightfully has noticed, your girlfriend is starved for motherly affection. You're the a-hole. You're misunderstanding this entire situation. If you make her mom stop giving her gifts now, she just has two mother figures in her life that aren't acknowledging her accomplishments or showering her with love. She's not upset your mom gives her gifts. I'm sure it means a ton to her. It just makes her upset that her own mom isn't a great mother. Her mom being a bad mother is an unrelated issue to your mom adoring her. Let her enjoy a positive relationship with your mother. OP, you're the a-hole because you're basically, unintentionally, saying, "My girlfriend's mom treats her like shit, so I want my mom to also treat her like shit. Let's keep her standards and expectations low so that she never has to be disappointed." That's just illogical nonsense. Your mom's kindness shows your girlfriend what motherly love, affection, and appreciation should feel like. She's realizing what she never had because she's experiencing it firsthand. Don't take that experience away from her. Just be there for her as she comes to terms with the fact that she never received this kind of love from her own mother. And be glad you have a mother who gives you this kind of love and shares it with your girlfriend as well.